Welcome to another edition of Play It Through, and this time around it's Top Gun, the second mission, brought to us by Konami. Now, Konami did an okay job with the first game, but some bad controls with the landing sequence and the refueling sequence makes the game really, well, a pretty bad game in most people's opinion, but they had a decent concept in making a flight simulator game for the 8-bit system of the Nintendo NES. So, in this game, they kind of, took the license a little bit differently, and they went ahead and they added a 2-player dogfight mode, which was cool to do, as well as they made the game a little bit shorter, but they made it a lot more action-packed. The movements are a lot more fluent. There's, of course, a lot more going on in the scenery and everything with the enemies. They also changed it up, so you're not just straight up just flying, fighting enemies, and then right to the boss. They do change around between each level, so there is a little bit more gameplay to it than the first game, even though it is, unfortunately, a shorter overall experience, if that makes any sense. But okay, so here we go with mission number 1, and you have 3 choices of missiles, but I'm just going to go ahead and select the first missiles. The missiles are actually, it took me a while to figure out how to even fire them, because you actually have to fire the fire button twice. You hold it in to just shoot your regular gun, but then you hit it twice and it actually fires a missile. So, as you can see, the water is slightly different. It's now a blue and dark blue line constantly going through. But the thing is, as you're already noticing, how much faster the planes are moving at you, how much faster my character is moving around, whatever you even want to call it a character, my plane is moving around. So like I said, immediately you can see it's much more action-packed. Of course, the whole gauges and everything is a lot different looking on the bottom of the screen. And it is actually a pretty challenging game because they add some gameplay elements, including a whole lot of this dodging certain scenery elements that are out to get you, which can be a little bit more challenging. But as you just saw, one of the other great things they added was the barrel roll. Of course, everyone loves the barrel roll from Star Fox, but Top Gun has a barrel roll in it, so it makes it, of course, a great game. And we don't have to worry about no training mission to go through first. We can just go jump right into the real missions, fighting actual aircraft as well as the boats. It's kind of, it's a little bit different than, the first game, but it actually, most of the missions are very similar, but they are slightly different. But you can definitely see similarities between them. Now, here is, I'm actually in my first dogfight, where it's just a one-on-one fight with you and another plane. And it comes down to you maneuvering using your radar to figure out exactly how to go about taking them out. Now, of course, using a missile, if you can get a quick missile off right when you first see them, you can usually take them out. But unfortunately, especially in the later dogfights, they'll fire a bullet and be able to take out your missile, or they're firing missiles at you. And what happens is your missile ends up attacking their missile instead of actually attacking the enemy plane. That gets a little bit of annoying, but it adds a different, it adds a little bit more challenge to the game and really doesn't take anything away from it. It just makes the dogfights sometimes take a little bit longer to beat, making sure that you can actually maneuver around, be able to get behind your opponent, get in front of your opponent, get him just on the right thing when he's not expecting it, and then blasting him out of the sky. Actually, overall, is a pretty satisfying experience to win the dogfights in the game. Like I mentioned, the game does have a 2-player dogfight mode, which is okay, but it ends up being, usually pretty short because it's only, one missile is pretty much going to blast your opponent out of the sky. And, so it's not too much to it either, but at least it was a nice feature to go ahead and add something like that. As you can see, I'm continuing on now. I just did another dogfight real quick because that one I was able to just catch the plane right off guard at the very beginning of the fight and blast him away. Which, like I said, I recommend if you can get that shot off right at the beginning of the fight, go ahead and do it, because not all the time do you get such an easy opportunity to sometimes take these out. Okay, so here we go with the first boss of the game. There actually is bosses. And as you're going to notice, the arrows appear on the actual plane that I'm fighting here. That's actually a weak spot that I have to take out. In this boss, you actually do have to take out all 4 of his weak spots. But in the other 2 boss battles, it's really a lot quicker and a lot shorter of a battle to deal with. Including especially the second boss battle. There's a lot more you can shoot, but you only need to shoot 2 spots in order to actually be able to take out the enemy helicopter, which you fight in the second mission. So there we go. The first mission is complete as the plane falls to its doom and everyone on board has now been killed. And now here we go to the landing sequence. if you played Top Gun 1 or watched my run of Top Gun 1, you know how bad the landing sequence can possibly be. But thankfully in this game they made it a lot easier to manage. You're moving a lot quicker, so it doesn't take up nearly as much time. So if you fail at it, it really didn't waste a whole lot of time before you actually got to go ahead and try again. And as you can see, I'm just guiding right in. I don't really have to slow down that much. It just flies right in, and that's it. Yeah, that was it. That's all it took in order to actually be able to land my plane in Top Gun the second mission. And speaking of second mission, we are going to the second mission now, as that first mission is fully complete now. Seek and destroy the enemy's deadly new assault helicopter. Oh yes, it's deadly and new, but it's taken out very, very easily. I'm going to go ahead and select the medium-style missiles for this run of the second mission in Top Gun the second mission. So here we go as I pull up my speed and take off to the sky here. As you can see, this is a ground-based level, and so instead of just brown dirt like we had, one shade of dirt in the first Top Gun, we actually have two shades, two lines constantly moving. At least it makes it look like the ground's actually kind of moving, so that's what they were going for, so it looks a little bit better though. But this is the first level that actually has one of the dodging things to deal with, so coming up in actually two parts of the level, this mission's a lot longer than the first one, is two sets of a forest. Somehow there's just a middle forest that instead of just flying over this forest, we're going to drive right through it. So that'll be coming up in just a little bit after I take out some of these enemy aircraft first before we can get to this forest. Turn around, wait for them to get in front of me, and come on. Okay, well I missed those two then. Can I get them? There we go. I got one there. Two more, no, three more flying at me at once. I'm taking them all out. That was easy enough. They were all lined up nice and neat in one little line. I didn't even mean to do the barrel roll, but I went ahead and did one. I just pressed the button accidentally and started doing one. The barrel roll, just like in Star Fox, is very useful. It can dodge most enemy fire. Now here's the actual forest, like I said. It is a little bit glitchy, just because the graphics don't want to seemingly work at some parts of it, so you can see it's a little bit glitchy. But it's it just comes down to dodging, which it actually, you will probably be hit by at least one tree your first or second time doing this type of mission. In this game, it gets a little bit challenging, but it just comes down to dodge what's just in front of you and not trying to go too far left or too far right, that even though you end up dodging the one tree you were trying to, you'll end up running right into another tree. And we do have another set of trees or forest or whatever coming up in just a little bit longer into the mission, so we'll have to deal with that as well. As you can see, enemy tanks are now involved in this gunfight against my one-man army here in this one plane that is the only plane fighting this entire army of enemies. Enemy tank taken out. Dealing with the enemy tanks as well as the aircraft at the same time can be a little bit challenging, but here we go with actually a dogfight now. See how long this one takes me. Wait for him, and there we go, to the right. And I accidentally did a barrel roll instead of going all the way right, so now I gotta try to maneuver my way around here. I didn't even want to do that. See if I can get him actually in my view. There we go. He's taken care of, and now the dirt changes colors back to the colors of what they were before. I don't know why they would change colors just for the dogfight. But, okay, so we're continuing on now, fighting more tanks and such. So just like the first Top Gun, it gets a little bit boring to watch, but, or, you know, and nothing really to say much more of it, but there are at least some gameplay elements, so it keeps you on your toes at all times, waiting to see what's coming up next. Is it going to be a dogfight, is it going to be a dodging sequence, or is it just going to be me versus like 10 or 12 planes and tanks at the same time? As you can see now, I'm in the second forest in Mission 2 here. Same thing as before. I don't know why the clouds are flying so low that they would be going through the trees. I mean, that would be fog officially, but I really don't understand that whole the fact. I guess it's for effect that there's constant clouds flying at you, but it just doesn't make much sense to me. So here we go with another dogfight. This one's below me here, and there you go. He's taken care of. Simple enough. Like I said, you can jump the gun on him and get him within, right at that first beginning part of the dogfight. That's the best, because once they get behind you, it becomes a much more challenging to get in front of them, or for you to be able to get them in front of you. So you gotta be, if you can be quick on it, that's the best way to take care of the dogfights. And missiles do work pretty much the best. So here we go with the second boss battle, the helicopter. And all I have to do is shoot at 2 parts on the front here. Okay, trying to get it. And there we go. Got the first part, got the second part, and that's all. You just gotta shoot the front there. There's 2 spots you actually have to